Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Kenyans. This is the Diaspora Heartbeat, a program that we hope, as we always tell you, is going to break the gap between Nairobi and Diaspora. We are working on it. We are making sure that you guys get it to your doorstep. We wish you all the best of luck and keep listening, keep watching us, and we hope that one day you get a big impact out of this program. This is the Diaspora Heartbeat and the Karibu Sana. Don't forget, if you want to talk to us, hashtag FNyangate. And if you're going to tweet again, do it on Diaspora Habit. With me tonight is the man. He's been doing a wonderful job in the community. He's a youth. He's married, yes, of course. And the man is a businessman. He came with what we call the K4C. Just in case you're in America those days, you remember what Kenyans for Change stood for and what they did to the communities here in the diaspora and back at home. We're here to talk to this man called Hebron Mosomi. Welcome to the studio, my friend.
Asante sana. I'm very humbled. It's a pleasure to be on this show here. I'm actually a big fan of yours. I think it's a new thing that you guys started. I've watched a few shows, and so far I have to say that I like what you guys are doing. I think information is what people need, because when people are informed, they're able to make better decisions. So I want to congratulate you, commend you for the work that you're doing, and to tell you that continue, because we need to get this information.
Mheshimiwa, there was the Kenyans for Change. The group was running very good for a long period of time. Everybody was talking about it. And it's a group that we thought and everybody was imagining it was going to change Kenya to become a different kind of state, unlike what it was before. But somewhere in between, we've never heard about it. I don't know what really happened, but can you just tell us what really happened? Because did you try to kill the dream?
No. Actually, like you said, Kenyans for Change was a movement that we began. I think it began around 2008. I think we were all inspired by the election of Barack Obama as the first black American to hold office in the United States. And as Kenyans, we were also inspired because he has roots in Kenya. So we were inspired by that fact, and we thought, hey, Kenya also needs some change. What can we do by coming together as a group of like-minded people to see what change we can bring to Kenya, what effort we can bring to make sure that Kenya gets change. And if you remember well, that we did get some change, because as we speak today, we have a new constitution. And actually, if you remember, that's what Kenyans for Change was championing. We brought together like-minded people. We gave our proposals to the committee of experts, and actually we worked with organizations like USA, whereby we were able to go around the country to tell people what the new constitution was all about, some of the benefits that came about. I think the fact that we will be able to vote in the next election. So I think as an organization, we did our best. We came out, we united Kenyans. I think the group was the most diverse of all groups that I've ever met. And I think it was a joy to be part of the movement and the organization. So I think we have change in Kenya. If you can look around Kenya, you see devolution and what is happening in the machinanis. So I think we did what we needed to do.
When you're talking about you already created change in Kenya,
yes.
So that means the dream has been relinquished and it's all done, and Kenya is in the right position that you guys wanted to be, and that was it. So you think everything is sailing on the right direction?
No. Change never stops. Okay? I think the only thing that is constant in life is change. Things have to continue changing to get better. And I think from where we came from as a country, we're happy to have been part of that process to change Kenya. And I'm not saying that Kenyans for Change takes credit for the new constitution. No. What I'm saying is that we were part of the change that brought the new constitution.
But what is happening here is that the thing is, you guys are no longer local.
Yes.
And the Kenyans are still saying something has not been achieved. And they're saying, you know what happened? Did this K4C just realize Uhuru has become a president, or there's a new constitution that has come in, and the new guys decided, you know what, we're going to quit, we're going to, pull off the gloves, we'll be off?
Not really. I think what I have to say is that Kenyans for Change came at a certain time for a certain purpose. And that purpose was to steer the country towards a second rebirth, and that is to get the new constitution, the liberation. And I think we played that role very well. as youthful people who had never been part of the political process in Kenya, we were actually able to come and know what it takes to bring change. So I think with the new constitution, we know that it's going to take time because a lot of things in the new constitution are very new to Kenya. Some of the things were actually borrowed from the American constitution. So I think the change has come, but it's still going to be continuous because, Felix, change never ends. Until we die, things are always going to be changing.
Are you guys anywhere are you anywhere in the ground? Nowhere?
Well, at the moment, I can categorically state that we're not an active group.
You're not an active group?
Yeah, I think our purpose was to work with other change-minded people to bring in the new constitution. Once the new constitution came into place, we knew that the country was going into an electioneering mood, which means traditionally Kenyans, when we get to elections, people start to disintegrate to their comfort zones, to the political parties. And we did not want to risk Kenyans for change to become part of the party system or the tribal system. We did a purpose that serves all Kenyans. And we thought that was the best place to stop there until we have another reason to come back again and fight for something that is common to all of us, as opposed to being caught up with the presidential candidates and take a political position, which was going to risk the organization.
So you guys never supported any political candidates?
We did not endorse any candidates as an organization. Now, on individual, on a personal level,
did somebody want you guys to support him or give him mileage just because of K4C?
I think nobody came to us directly saying that they want our support, but many politicians, I think if you remember, tried to associate with the organization.
Now, Mr. Heb.
Yes.
K4C deactivated. You still have a life? What have you been doing?
We do. Actually, the group is still intact. After the constitution passed...
But you said it's been deactivated. You know, that's the thing. You said it's not vocal like it used to be. It's just underground. It's not doing anything. Heb Mosomi being the chairman, does it mean you don't have anything else that you're doing, or did you go back to business? I know you're doing business, but what have you been up to?
No, I do business because, you know, as human beings, we have to earn a living.
Mm-hmm.
We have our professional careers and things that we do in order to survive. So those things are still continuing. But as an organization, we also have what we call Project Amani. Project Amani is still running under Kenyans for Change up to date. This is a section of Kenyans for Change that goes around the country to preach a message of peace. Because we know as a country, unless we are peaceful, we cannot sustain any development. So we're still active, but not on the same level that we were before the Constitution passed.
Mr. Heb, I'll get out of that a little bit and I'll come to your personal life.
Yes.
I've been seeing you taking flights, going to Kenya, coming back to GFW. What have you been doing in Nairobi, Kisii, or any other place?
Well, what I have to say is my passion is business,
Mm-hmm.
building companies, expanding companies, employing people. And here in the US, we do have the Metro Rent-A-Car Corporation, which is a car rental company in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, which began in 2007. So that is still going on. And then what I thought is it's time to invest back home.
Mm-hmm.
I think we know that Africa's markets, or Africa's economy is the fastest growing economy in the world. And we want to be part of that growth, we want to be part of that boom. So what we did is we looked at all the sectors within our economy, the Kenyan economy, and we thought that I think the construction industry provided an opportunity. So what we did is we came to Kenya, we registered a construction company, and we actually, I think this is our second year running. What we do basically is just provide construction equipment to contractors in Kenya who do roads or buildings or whatever they may be doing as far as construction is concerned.
How long have you been doing that business of construction?
That one began in December of 2013.
Mr. Heb,
Yes.
2013, after the elections, the Kenyan elections.
Yes.
I have a question. One of our listeners and one of our viewers was asking, did Heb decide to go do business after his dad has been elected as a member of parliament? For your information, Mr. Heb Mosomi has a dad by the name Moindi Mosomi, the member of parliament for Nyariwari Masaka constituency. So he's here to talk about both challenges in the diaspora and back at home. So Mr. Mosomi, why are you doing it after your dad has become a member of parliament?
Actually, Felix, this is not my first business to start in
But
Kenya.
back home, you know, yeah.
Yeah. I did before the company, the construction company is called Lone Star Construction. That is the one that began in December of 2013. But prior to that, I spent actually about 6 months in Kenya straight, starting a business in the e-commerce industry. I don't know if you ever came across a website called kenshik.com.
Yes.
It's basically like eBay.
remember,
If you know eBay in America, that's what I was trying to start in Kenya. I spent 6 months, but that business did not pick up. But you know, you don't quit there. In life, some things are not going to work. But you pick up yourself and you come up with a new idea. So the notion that maybe I started a business because my father was elected to a political office, I think is misplaced, because I was there before my father was even elected. I started my business here in America in 2012, 2 years after graduating from college. I realized I had no business furthering my college studies at the point. So I decided I have a passion for business, and that's what I was going to do. And that's how I started business in 2012.
But Mr. Heb,
Yes.
once your dad was elected a member of parliament, as everybody says,
Yeah.
they have made a lot of trips going back and forth, getting out of DFW back and forth. Now the thing is Mzee boosting you? Is the name of Mzee helping you to knock those doors and go wherever you wanna go?
I wouldn't put it that way. First of all, let me say that.
Because you know it's normal when you know when Mzee now the starters are up there. It could be normal for any other person. I mean, even if you ask anybody, we say, you know what, just because my dad is over there, I can get an opportunity to be there. We're not trying to say it as a bad thing. It's a good thing, but you know.
That's a good question. That's a very good question, Felix. But let me say one thing. First of all, my father is a very principled man. Okay. And the reason why I say that, as soon as I started my construction company, he said that your machines will not step foot in my constituency. Because that was going to create a conflict of interest. If I got, let's say, a road project to do in Masaba, people will say that Mr. Moendi is giving his son all the jobs in the constituency. So he told me, look, son, I love you with all my heart. I would do anything for you. But one thing I cannot do for you is to have your business being run in the constituency while I'm a member of parliament. And guess what? I agreed. I said, look, Dad, Kenya is a big country. There are many opportunities. We need roads in Marsabit. We need roads in Kisumu. We need roads in Nyamira. There are many places to go. So I cannot say that the fact that my father became a politician or got a political office...
Is Mzee linking you to those places?
No. There's no reason why I would say that Mzee is linking me to any business. I am a go-getter. I think you know that. I've been to other members of parliaments with offices seeking for jobs without even my father knowing. I approach the CDF offices, they link me with a member of parliament, I tell them what I have, and I tell them, look, I'm not interested in getting any contracts. And by the way, I do not bid for any road contracts. I just say once you do the bidding and you get it, I know you don't have the machines. My goal is to be part of development in my country. And therefore, I have machines here. We talk about the terms. If you'd like to rent the machines, I give them to you, which is, I think, fair play.
Mr. Heb, during the election campaign time,
yes,
how much help were you to your dad?
I think as a family we came together, and my father told me his desire to run for political office. And let me tell you that this was not his first time. He had tried 2 times before and failed for whatever reason. But I think this time the people in Masaba said, look, Mzee, you've done a good job. You've been with us even after losing 2 elections, and we think it's your time. So as a family, we came together, and of course, we gave him all the support that we could. But I cannot say that I gave him all the support. He has been on the ground. He is a businessman too in Kenya, in real estate, buying and selling lands for a long time. And so what I did is just to chip in to support him, because he has supported me my entire life. And I thank God that he was able to allow him to serve the people right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the Diaspora Heartbeat, coming you all live from Arlington, Texas. We are here with Mr. Hebron Mosomi, a businessman in the diaspora and back at home. He's trying to tell us the challenges, how he's been doing business around, and where he heads to. Tonight, I hope you'll be treating us and asking us a lot of questions about who he is and what does he do best. When we come back, We'll tell you more about this young gentleman ready to change waters, ready to cross the rivers, ready to cross oceans, and ready to make it good. You're watching Heartbeat.
Abagusi Global TV.
Thank you and welcome back to the Diaspora Heartbeat. As we say, we're trying to make a difference back in Kenya and here in the United States of America. With me, as I told you earlier, is Mr. Mosomi, a businessman in the diaspora and back at home. We're here to look at the challenges that he goes through in this kind of business and why he has to always travel back and forth to make sure there is a success back at home and there's a success here in the United States of America. Mr. Heb.
Yes.
Now, you know you've crossed lines that most people don't really cross, and you got the guts. You do what people don't do, you know, easily trying to run two businesses at the same time, running in the DFW and running another business back at home is hectic. I can guarantee you, taking those flights back and forth, spending up here and down. What do you really think could be the major challenges that you could tell people in the DFW rather than the whole of the diaspora if they want to venture into business and they're here in the United States or in the diaspora?
Well, business for me is like a hobby. It's something I enjoy doing, and I think I have to say that it's one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life to go into business. Because with business, you're not limited to what you can do, as opposed to a regular 8-to-5 job, and you have a boss who tells you how much you can make. With business, the sky is the limit, or you can even go beyond the sky if you want. So I think business, first of all, you have to have the heart of wanting to do business. You have to be a risk taker. You have to be willing to take chances and sometimes even put everything on the line. If you have that kind of heart, then you're built for business. But business to me is a matter of demand and supply. If you can get something cheaper and be the middleman and supply it to the consumer, you have a business going. So it can be in any sector. It can be in the food industry, it can be in transportation, air travel, name it. There's so many things you can do. So you have to have the passion for it and then be dedicated enough to want to follow through.
But Mr. Heb, challenges since you've been in the, on the ground.
Yeah.
You've been going to Kenya back and forth, and as I told you, having a business in Kenya and staying in the in DFW or staying in diaspora, there should be more challenges. I mean, as I said, taking flights, watu wale wanakufanyia kazi nyumbani, you know, are they faithful to you? Is there something that you can really say, you know what, let us do it in a different way, so that you don't come out to blame the guys working for us or the guys that we work for?
Now, I have to say that after doing business in Kenya for about a year, I have to admit that it's not the same as doing business here in the United States. This is a developed country. The systems are in place. Corruption is not a major factor. So those are some of the obstacles I think as a country we can address. We'll be able to attract investors to the country. I have to say that there are times I've almost thought of just selling everything and packing and just saying, hey, I'm done. But then when I see how much opportunity is being provided to the people that we've been able to give a job, right now we've employed more than 10 people who are earning a salary and feeding their families, and we're happy about that. But then there are many challenges in Kenya as far as the system is concerned.
Are people stealing from you?
Of course. I've had to fire some people because they were caught stealing or cutting deals with contractors so that our machines work for free and they get paid on the side. So that those are some of the challenges that we face.
I mean, do they have it very rough dealing with you as being the Mdosi, given the fact you come from the diaspora and you know everything over here is mostly straight, you know, but them, you know, trying to do things in an awkward, different way? Don't you find them having it very tough working with you?
I think it's tough, but what I believe is they don't have to work with me directly. What I did when I went to Kenya.
How do you do it?
I have a manager. I have someone who's in management, who I interviewed, who I trained and put him on the ground, because it's very hard to remote control a business from the US. So the best thing you can do to leverage the resources that are on the ground is to get the right people. If you build a good team of people, then you're bound to succeed. But if you just pick everybody on the street who wants a job, then you're on the wrong footing. So I have a manager there who's in charge of everything, and what I do is get daily or weekly reports from him to know where things are. And whenever he needs to make a critical decision, then I'm just a phone call away. With technology now, it's so easy to communicate. I'm on WhatsApp, I'm on Facebook. So he's able to shoot me a message, we deliberate about it, and we're able to implement whatever new policy we want to do or a new way of doing business. So it's not as difficult when you have the right people.
Like now with the start of the diaspora banking, and maybe let's say M-Pesa back at home, and we guys are able to maybe send money through the M-Pesa, how much of help has that been to you?
No, I have to say technology is, it's a new revolution. It's changing how people do business, it's changing how we communicate, and it's just changing how we conduct ourselves. And I have to say that the M-Pesa technology is, I think, the best invention in Kenya right now, because business is able to be conducted without you being physically there. And I have numerous times used the system. I've had to send my workers money sometimes, the fundis who repair the machines. So I think it makes everything very convenient.
How about DFW? Do you have any challenges in DFW working business? What kind of business do you do in DFW?
In the Dallas-Fort Worth, we have the Metro Rent-A-Car Corporation. By the way, you can go to our website. It's metrorentacardfw.com. Basically, we just rent cars out. We buy cars from auctions or from dealerships. We put them in our rental fleet, and we market and we advertise and we get customers. And most of our clientele are people who need replacement vehicles because their vehicles are in either mechanic shops or body shops or something of that nature.
Thank you so much. You're still listening and watching the Diaspora Heartbeat. This man, Hebron Mosomi, trying to do his thing as usual, trying to tell you guys how much of success he's getting out of DFW and how much of success he's getting back at home. When we come back, we'll talk about politics. We're going to talk about the polling centers that were located by the Kenyan Embassy in Washington, D.C. He knows a little bit better about them, but let us know from him. What does he think about them? Is it right timing or wrong timing? This is the Diaspora Heartbeat.
Abagusi Global TV.
That gave out a list of new polling stations that Kenyans will be using. Actually, the efforts have been are coming out, because the thing is, we are going to be voting for the first time. The diaspora, as he said, they are going to be voting. Then he came out with polling stations. One of them was Minneapolis, and then he gave Dallas, and then there is Boston, there is Atlanta, and Seattle, plus Washington, D.C. itself.
Yeah.
Now, there is an outcry from people around, especially from diaspora. They're saying that opposition look like they've been shortchanged, because if you look at these polling centers, most of them are typically traditions of Mount Kenya. That's where most of the Mount Kenya people live. That's what they're saying. That's the argument. What is your take on that?
Well, first of all, let me say that this is a step in the right direction. We know that the constitution that was promulgated in August of 2010 gave all Kenyans the right to vote. This is a fundamental right, and I personally feel that we should have been able to vote even in the last election. I think the IBC shortchanged us. They were here. Isaac Hassan was here with his team to get views from us. We gave him the views, and we should have had these polling stations in the last election. So I think they're a little bit late. But we welcome the idea. I think it's an idea whose time has come. Kenyans in the diaspora are as Kenyans in Kenya. And so for us to get this right, I think is a step in the right direction. Now, to say that there's some shortchanging, I'm not sure who's being shortchanged, because when I look at the demographics of Kenyans in the diaspora or in the United States, I think we are very diverse. We are spread all over those particular places,
But
and
still,
I think it's fair play.
But still, to be honest with you, rather to be honest with the Kenyan environment, the truth is, we always, irrespective of where we are, most of these guys, it has not changed. We still vote on tribal lines. Do you think since people in the diaspora, they've taken flights all the way from Kenya and they've come to this country, that will change, and this one is not going to be the same thing? You won't see Mount Kenya voting towards TNA, and you won't see the other side of maybe Nyanza voting towards CORD?
No, I think for most part that is going to happen. We know Kenyans, whether they're in Kenya, they are away. Politically, they have an inclination towards their tribesmen, towards their kingpin. So that's going to happen. So I guess those people who are saying that maybe those polling stations are leaning towards one side or the other, personally I think they're wrong. because when we look at Dallas, Texas, we're going to cover Dallas and Houston, Austin, all the people within Texas, the neighboring states of Kansas.
Let me give you for example. There is an argument that when we talk about Dallas, Texas, you find it's an argument that I was getting on the social media that you find out that most of those guys from Mount Kenya, they're the ones who live especially in Dallas area and towards those Irving area.
Yeah.
But you find out that maybe let's say the Kisses and the Luo community, they're the ones who live towards the Arlington area, down there. Another question was, are these guys gonna travel all the way to Dallas to make to vote? Or those ones, the closer you are, the easier the voting, and the bigger gonna be the numbers.
Well, I think when it comes down to Dallas, when they say Dallas, it does not specifically mean Dallas as in Dallas downtown. The office might as well be in Irving, which is central, which is within Dallas County. So let's not assume that the fact that they're saying it will be in Dallas, it means Plano or North Dallas or anything of that sort. I think when they're going to narrow down to the geographic location of the polling center, that's a case we as Kenyans can actually come forth and give advice to the embassy or the IBC and tell them, look, to make it central, make it in Irving. Irving is 30 minutes the other side to Dallas, 30 minutes to Fort Worth, and that will cover everybody. But we as the citizens, we also have an obligation to give our views as far as where the polling center should be.
So you think there's nothing wrong with that?
There is nothing wrong.
Having a center in Boston, having a center in Washington, D.C., having another one in Atlanta, having another one in Minneapolis, having another one in Dallas, does not change anything.
It doesn't change because those are the areas where we have the most number of Kenyans. Dallas, for example, I think is populated by mainly the Kisii community, the Luo community, the Kikuyu community. So I think it's fair play. And I think if I value the right to vote that much, I should be able to drive at least 30 minutes to go and vote. Let's think about the people who are going to come from Austin, Houston, Louisiana, Kansas. So I think we have it good here. Anybody complaining that from Dallas to Arlington is such a long way, they probably don't care much about voting.
But you, as one of the leaders, as one of the businessmen and leaders in the DFW community, or rather in Diaspora, is there anything you guys want to do to make sure that these guys, they are told to go and vote, the information passes across them and to know why, how they're going to be voting around?
Yeah, I think as leaders, that's one of our obligations. We need to call all the leaders together. We need to take this seriously. We need to do some civic education. First of all, for you to be able to vote, you have to be registered. For you to be registered, you have to have an identity card.
Yes.
So we need to start from the basics. Let's make sure that as many Kenyans as possible have identity cards, which are being issued now through the embassy in Washington. Once we have that, then let's mobilize people towards voting, towards being registered. And once they're registered, it comes down now to voting. Because if I don't have a voter's ID, or I'm not registered, when election time comes, my vote does not exist. So I think that's what we as leaders, and I think you're one of them, very vocal in the community, and we appreciate what you guys are doing. So what you need to do is, let's come together, let's tell people that this right was fought for by many people. Some of us actually, we had to file court cases for us to get this. First of all, it was denied in the first election, saying that there was not enough time. Then we appealed, and in the appeals court, they actually passed. The IBC was told that they have to implement this, and that's why we're seeing some of these fruits. And I give credit to some people like Shem Ochoda, the leaders of the Kenya Diaspora Alliance, for fighting for this.
Wow. Why is Uhuru back to Kenya? Why is he not in LA?
Well, they
Do you have an idea?
Now that is funny. I think
Mazee ametoka nyumbani, amefika Dubai, and he's gone back home.
Did he even land in Dubai, or did the plane turn around?
Walisema aliturned round, then he was told that you cannot go through Yemen, and then he turned round.
Now that just
is there something the Kenyans don't know that they really want to know about that?
I personally think it's embarrassing, and that's some of the information maybe they should not leak to the public. But because he was coming to LA, and the stage had been set for him to come, he had to say something. But I think it goes down to the kind of leadership we have in Kenya. I think there's some shortcomings. We've seen that in how the recent Al-Shabaab attacks were handled. The government took 7 to 9 hours to respond in a place where we have a military base. And the commissioner, the secretary for foreign affairs, Amina, comes and says that that was adequate. I don't know what her definition for adequate is, because if you tell me that our kids were being butchered for 9 hours and people were somewhere trying to make a decision, and you say it's adequate,
and there's no chopper to send them to Garissa.
I don't know, man.
And you see Adam Duale is on flight
Yeah.
to Garissa on a chopper.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the Reke squad is
Yeah.
on the road.
Kaiseri took a chopper to Garissa.
Duale went with him.
Duale went with
too.
him.
Yeah.
The police commissioner was with him.
Yes.
What did they do when they got there?
They just went to survey and look.
So shouldn't we have prioritized the Reke squad to be there before anybody else? Because they are the ones who are going to combat, to be able to help the students. Why did the politicians have to go there and use the chopper that could have taken the help that the students needed?
Do you hate this game of politics?
I mean, politics is not bad, but politicians are the people we can say who are bad. Politics.
Well, your dad is one of them, right?
Yeah, he is one of them, but you know the executive is responsible for all these scenarios.
But remember, your dad is a Mheshimiwa. Member of Parliament, Nyaribari Masaba constituency.
That is very true. But
Yes.
what do legislative branch of government do? They are to hold the government accountable once they go wrong. But the person that we need to hold responsible for this is none other than the president.
So these
The
other
Secretary for
these,
Internal Security.
these other politicians, there's no problem with them, right?
No, trust me, everybody has a problem. Politicians have a problem from Kenya to the United States, but more so in Kenya, because personally I think we're underperforming. The response to those attacks was mediocre. Adequacy is not a word we should even try to use. If that thing had happened in another country like the United States, within 20 to 30 minutes, the SWAT team could have been there and those terrorists could have been killed, maybe after they had killed 10 or 15 kids. But to take a whole day when kids are being butchered, and we have a police force that we pay, we have a military whose budget is in billions in Kenya, and you tell me that they needed 7 hours to respond to 4, 5, 6, 7 Al-Shabaab boys, I think we have to question whether our country is heading in the right direction.
Any chance that you may want to run for a political seat back at home once your dad retires?
Well, why do I have to wait for him to retire?
But you're gonna get there.
My dad is probably going to run for member of parliament.
Mm.
We have other seats that I can run for, so why should I have to wait for
Any
him
interest?
to retire?
Any interest into that?
Not at this time. At the present time, I cannot say that I'm seeking any political office, but when the time is right, I hope I'll call you and you'll allow me to come to this show and we can declare that. There's no problem.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's been the gentleman talks a lot that really affects us back at home and here in the diaspora. We hope you're really following this, because it's really gonna make a whole big of impact. If you're not, sisi tunaendelea kusukuma mbele, and God is gonna be with us. And if He's with us, as they say always, who will be against us? When we come back, He's gonna give us His parting shots and tell Kenyans where we need to go. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Kenyans. This is the Diaspora Heartbeat, a program that we hope, as we always tell you, is gonna bridge the gap between Nairobi and diaspora. We are working on it. We are making sure that you guys get it to your doorstep. We wish you all the best of luck, and keep listening, keep watching us, and we hope that one day you get a big impact out of this program. This is the Diaspora Heartbeat, and the Karibu Sana. Welcome back to the Diaspora Heartbeat. As we always tell you, the program that is likely to change the diaspora and change issues back at home. We're working on it, and we hope you guys are going to be with us, and we're going to move it forward. We've been talking to Mr. Hebron Mosomi, who has really told us more about his business. He's told us about what he does back at home and what he does here in DFW and the diaspora in general. We talked about polling centers, we talked about who is who. Now we're here. Mr. Hebron Mosomi is going to tell us exactly why he thinks Kenyans need to improve and why he thinks Kenya needs to change from what has been happening currently and what has been happening in the past. Mr. Hebron, this is your parting shot.
Well, Felix, the AGR team, Heartbeat, thank you for the opportunity for coming to Irving to spend this time with me, to give me an opportunity to share an idea or two. And I think they say that knowledge has no monopoly, so we're always learning from each other. For me, I've learned a lot by this discussion, and I think I look forward to more of such. As far as a message to my fellow Kenyans is let's stay united, let's respect each other, let's support the current government because it's who was elected to lead us. Whether we agree with the election or not, I think that's behind us. What we need to do is come together and see how we can move forward together as one people. But then let's not only call this one people slogan when we have a problem. I think we need to be united even when it comes to sharing government jobs, when it comes to opportunities in the country. Let's be united when things are good and when things go wrong. Let's support Uhuru. I believe in the man. I think he's doing a decent job. He can do better. I think he needs to change the people that surround him, the people in charge of the country's security, the economy. He needs to continue the fight on corruption because I think our biggest enemy is corruption and tribalism. Let him share the jobs that the government has to offer to all Kenyans that are qualified. I think when we see things leaning one side, then people start to question whether we are one or we are only one in talks, but in actions, we start favoring our people. I think nepotism should have no place in Kenya if we are going to develop. Security, I think, is the #1 job for the president to ensure that Kenya is secure, to attract investment to the country. And in turn, with that, we're going to create jobs for the youth. Crime is going to reduce, and I think we can build a very stable country. Those of us who are in diaspora, let's remember that we have a role to play. That's why now we can be able to vote and have a say in what is going on in Kenya. Let us take that very seriously. There are people who have fought for these rights for us to be able to enjoy them. The right to vote is a fundamental human right that we've been given. So let's take it seriously. Let's start coming together as leaders to tell our people that we need to start to register for 2017. Let us not wait until 2016 halfway to start getting ready. They say that if you fail to prepare, then you're preparing to fail. I think as a people, we can be more organized, and we can also help the people back home because we've lived in a country where things work, where the system works, where there's very minimal corruption, and we've seen the fruits of such. It's upon us to go back, or to use even the social medias to tell Kenyans that we are our own biggest enemy because we don't care about each other. Everybody's out there fighting for himself and God for us all. But if we come together, we put our house in order, even the Bible says that a house that is united will stand, but a house that is divided shall fall. Let us not entertain corruption. Corruption is killing businesses. It's killing entrepreneurship. It's even killing the spirit of those in diaspora who want to come home and invest. I think Uhuru is on the right path. We saw what he did as far as corruption is concerned, even telling his cabinet secretaries to step aside. That has rarely happened in our history. So the man is committed, but he cannot do it alone. I think we all have to come together as a people and see where we can lend a hand. If we see corruption going on, let us report it. Let us come together as a people and say that we don't want to build a future based on corruption. Some of us now have children and want to leave them a better Kenya than the one we found. But it's not going to do or to happen by itself. We, the people, are the country, not just the land. We make Kenya. Without us, there's no Kenya. So why do we want to be our own enemy when we know we can do better? We are told that do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
As the golden rule.
Exactly. So if we care about each other and be honest with each other, I think we can build one of the best countries in the world.
Can't add more than what he has said. The man himself has come out very clean. Man himself has come out very clear. He has told the nation, he has told Kenyans that this is where we go wrong and this is where we need to be headed to. We hope that it really touched you. We hope that you really now see what is the link between Nairobi and Washington. What is the link between Nairobi and DFW? What is the link between Boston and Nairobi? What is the link between Minneapolis and Nairobi? Thank you for listening and thank you for watching. We'll be there with you all the time. And this is the Diaspora Heartbeat. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Kenyans. This is the Diaspora Heartbeat, a program that we hope, as we always tell you, is going to break the gap between Nairobi and diaspora. We are working on it. We are making sure that you guys get it to your doorstep. We wish you all the best of luck and keep listening, keep watching us, and we hope that one day you get a big impact out of this program. This is the Diaspora Heartbeat and the Karibu Sana.